Everyone had a wonderful, wonderful week. I find myself now in MMY, and we have begun Yeshiva. The boys are here in quarantine in the MMY facility. Baruch Hashem, doing well. Shana Bet is in Mevaseret, and we are doing our best to manage in this incredibly unique time that we live in. I wanted to share a thought on Parshas Tavo. The Torah opens up with the mitzvah of Bikurim, where the farmers in Eretz Yisrael are told to take the first fruit of Shivas Haminim and bring them up to Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh, put them in a basket, place it on the Mizbeach, and then there is a Kriyas HaParsha where they express, the farmers together with the Kohen express the Hakaras HaTov, the gratitude that they have for having land in Eretz Yisrael, for being in Eretz Yisrael and having the schus of Peiros HaAretz. And the Al-Sheikh HaKadosh writes in Perek Chavav Pasuk Beis, why is it that the farmer himself has to do it? He's taking a couple of fruit, a rimon, some grapes, some olives, a couple of fruit, brings it all the way from northern Israel, Tzfat, from southern Israel, Damona, and comes to Yerushalayim. Why can't he just send a shliach? Why can't he send his servant? And the Al-Sheikh brings a yesod, and his yesod is that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu left his place and came down to Yerushalayim, to Eretz Yisrael, to facilitate, to make for Hashem a dira bat hachtonim, so we too have to go ahead and move our place to Yerushalayim and also create that relationship. But perhaps we can add that according to most Mefarshim, the Chinuch and the Al-Sheikh himself, the mitzvah of Bikurim is at its heart a mitzvah of Hakaras HaTov, of expressing gratitude, of saying thank you, of appreciation. And when it comes to Hakaras HaTov, you cannot do the mitzvah of Hakaras HaTov of Bikurim vicariously. To create a sense of gratitude, appreciation, it has to be me. I can't say, I send a message of thank you. No, it has to come internally. It has to be me. It has to be mine. And that's a fundamental idea. And perhaps, and there's a very famous and beautiful story told over about Rav Gustman. Rav Gustman was a young dayan in the Beis Din of Rav Chaim Ozer Grozhansky, a super genius. At the age of 19 years old, he was a dayan in Rav Chaim Ozer's Beis Din. He was very close to Rav Chaim Ozer. And at some point in his youth, Rav Chaim Ozer, for some reason that Rav Gustman never fully understood, he started to teach him about different aspects of botany and which kind of berries are poisonous and which kind of berries one can eat. And Rav Gustman was very, very confused. It would later be revealed to him exactly why Rav Chaim Ozer was giving him this information. But Rav Gustman survived the Holocaust, and he emigrated to Eretz Yisrael and founded Yeshivas Netzach Yisrael in Rechavia in Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh. And this Gadol BaTorah, Rav Gustman, every single day he used to tend to the plants in the garden. He used to water the plants, he would seed them, fertilize them, he would do it all himself. And the Talmidim asked him, Rebbe, well, you have gardeners for that. Why are you, the Rosh Yeshiva, tending to the plants? And Rav Gustman answered that the reason he's tending to the plants is because these plants saved his life. Not these plants, but plants saved his life. Because when he was fleeing the Nazis in Europe, he ran and fled into the forest. And he was protected by the forest. And he found berries. And he consumed. He knew which berries were edible and which ones were poisonous because of that education that Rav Chaim Ozer gave him years back. And he survived on those berries. And he survived under the cover of the plants. And as a result, when he came to Yerushalayim, he felt a sense of gratitude to the plants. And that's incredible. And therefore he watered the plants. Now, these were not the same plants. Those plants were in Europe. These plants are here in Eretz Yisrael. And they're plants. They're inanimate objects. What kind of Hakaras HaTov do they need to hear? And apparently I think you see from here a fundamental idea, and perhaps it's a fundamental yesod in the entire Midah. Because the world is full of two different types of people. We have takers and we have givers. And you want to be a giver. You want to be someone who gives, who shares. And even when you receive, you don't want to be a pure taker. And by having a midah of hakaras hatov, you transform yourself from a taker into a giver. So the midah, it's not necessarily a mitzvah of hakaras hatov, it's a midah of hakaras hatov, which transforms the person. It's a mitzvah, it's an Indian beino levein atzmo. It converts you, it changes you from being a taker to a giver. And that, again, you cannot do through a shliach. You cannot do through a message. And therefore, the mitzvah of bikurim is one of those three things that the Torah refers to as reishis. Torah is called reishis. Yisrael is called reishis. Bikurim is called reishis. Reishis tuasacha. Why? Because we have to go ahead and bring it ourselves. We have to become people of hakaras hatov. We have to become givers and not takers. And perhaps that is the lesson of mitzvahs bikurim. And that's a fundamental lesson. It's not just about first fruit to the Kohen, to the Mizbeach. It's about who you are as a person. Are you a person who's makir tov? Do you appreciate everything you have? And if we have that midah, then we'll be in tremendously good shape. That was what Rav Yisrael Gusman taught us. That's why he watered the plants. It's not something you do al yidei shliach, and it's not necessarily about the plants. It's about me, who I am as a person. Be'ez Hashem, we should be zocha to be makir tov to all the goodness that we have around us. Have a wonderful Shabbos Kodesh.